January 30th, 2022. No grasping, even the non-grasping itself, constantly. Purify all the angles of the attempt to hold on, to hang on with anything. No grasping, even the non-grasping itself, constantly. So that there will be no sinking within any states of mind, constantly uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself. Sitting comfortably under this robe cannot be surviving. Is it too comfortable within this robe, huh? Only awakening cannot survive from the Vedana and hindrances. What is it within there? Uninvolved with the disregard itself, uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Just awakening or knowing cannot survive the Vedana and hindrances. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Uninvolved with the disregard itself constantly, so that it will not be limited with just awakening or brightening or opening widely. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself constantly. Disregard is uninvolved with itself constantly. In the way of the uninvolved, purifying within the uninvolved itself. Don't fall in the stillness. A tiny bit of stillness. Don't dwell within oneself. It's not about dwelling within the mind. Uninvolved with the disregard is not about attempting to dwell within the mind. It's not about attempting to dwell. Uninvolved with the disregard itself constantly, so that it will purify the attempt to be with the mind, with the body, with thoughts, with feelings. So that it will purify the attempt to dwell within the anicca, dukkha, and anatta, delusively dwelling within that which has nothing to do with the dwelling. Deludedly grasping towards something that is not about grasping. No grasping is as it is. No grasping, even the non-grasping itself. Disregard all at once. Go ahead. Uninvolved all at once. Uninvolved within itself all at once. Today the surroundings, the environment is very sticky, and the sitting posture is really calling the visitors. When there's no skillful in breaking through to help, your sitting position is really calling a lot of visitors. Sinking in all together. Awakening is uninvolved with itself. Uninvolved with the awakening itself. The awakening that is there already, just uninvolved with itself. Brighten out a bit more. Don't be obsessed with drowsy. Brighten out. Uninvolved with awakening itself. Uninvolved with the disregard itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Brighten out a bit more. Disregard within itself. Uninvolved with the disregard itself. Don't regret the disregard or not. Uninvolved within itself. Well with it. Shine out more. Shining out that is not relevant to itself. Shining out in the way of the uninvolved. The good awakening has to be beyond itself. It has to be beyond awakening itself. To be limited with just awakening, you will return to be drowsy again. The good awakening is uninvolved with itself, is not attached to itself. To be limited with just awakening, there will be the drowsiness within awakening. It's not surviving with just awakening. It's not yet through. Awakening is uninvolved with itself so that it can break through. Otherwise, it will turn back to be drowsy, to sink in again. If you can maintain the awakening, you can also maintain that which is not awakened. If you can maintain the awakening, then you also can maintain the drowsiness. Uninvolved within itself. Uninvolved within itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. For everything is not about taking it to be maintained, to be drowsy. It's not about taking it to be sinking in it, to be maintaining it. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Brighten out doesn't grasp itself. The disregard doesn't grasp itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself is really shining out. It is very good purification. The ordinariness has no power, Very easy to be in the drowsiness. stillness or indifference has no power to break through at all. There is no power to purify, to help break through for samsara. Because when you are in the stillness and indifference, you can return also to be stagnated, to sink in at any time. Uninvolved with the disregard itself. It's not about anything within the uninvolved itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Automatically, the awakening and the brightening will have nothing to do with itself. When the uninvolved is uninvolved even with itself, even the awakening will not be related to itself. When the uninvolved is uninvolved with itself, the brightening also will not be involved with itself. Both the disregard and the brightening is in the way of the uninvolved. Guarding the body and the mind is so troublesome. This is the subject of the guarding, Being obsessed to be dwelling within the body and the mind. This is the subject of guarding. Uninvolved with the disregard itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself constantly. All at once, all at once. Whatever that is given here is not about the subject of guarding. What is it within the body and the mind is not the way. Even the disregard has nothing to do with itself. To be obsessed with the body and the mind, the involvement within the body and the mind is not the way. This is not the subject of guarding the body and the mind. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself is not the subject of guarding. To keep watching, the looking, the knowing, the body and the mind is not the way. Disregard, even the disregard itself, is not about something, look out for something. It's not relevant to the body and the mind. Disregard, even the disregard itself, has nothing to do with the body and the mind. It has nothing to do with all things. Disregard, even the disregard itself, is the brightness that doesn't grasp itself, is breaking through, penetrating through all and everything. Break through the brightness itself. There will be no limitations to a certain extent. Don't turn back to be in the ordinariness is a kind of the delusion. The delusion in the way of ordinariness is the delusion that is in the neutrality. It's not about ordinariness because it's a delusion. Still significance and meanings and involvement. Don't return to be in the ordinariness. Uninvolved, then uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself, right away, constantly. Don't turn around to be in the ordinariness. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself constantly. Disregard even the disregard itself constantly. Is not subjected to being ordinary or not. Disregard even the disregard itself constantly. Don't turn around to be in stillness or indifference. Don't turn around to sink in. Don't turn around to the delusion within the ordinariness. Uninvolved is already there, then uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Uninvolved discards itself, it doesn't grasp itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Don't turn back to be in stillness, to be in the indifference within the knowing. Don't be in the stillness within looking, seeing and knowing. That is all about thinking. It's not true. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself constantly, so that there will be the help to break through, to help release and unwind, so that it will not be truly non-grasping. No grasping to the body, the mind itself. No grasping to the form and formlessness, to knowing and seeing itself. No grasping even the non-grasping itself. Disregard even the disregard itself. Don't be busy with physical, verbal and mental karma. If there is already the delusion within the karma already, may everything be forgiven. Ahosi, ahosi, ahosi. Don't be stuck with the composture. It's an entrapment of the suffering, entrapping the anicca, the tukkhang. The anicca discards itself at all times. The anicca doesn't grasp itself at all times. The anatta also doesn't grasp itself at all times. The anatta discards itself at all times. Don't entrap the anatta. The composure which is wrong, the more of it is like performing entrapment. It's not about anything within anything. Go beyond the composure. It's not about anything in anything. Break through the composure. Otherwise, it's gonna be a lengthy realm of existence within the mind. It's not about anything within anything. Break through the composure instantly. The more of the composure, the lengthier the realm of existence is there. The anicca is being composed, unrealized that it is being smart or stupid. Composure of anicca, tukkhang, is it realized that it is being smart or stupid? It's not about anything within anything. that which is not about anything in anything.
ขนาดสำรวมก็ยังไม่ใช่เลยอย่าว่าแต่ลิงข้างบางชนี
Self-control is not the way. There is no need to mention about the behaviors as monkeys.
พระก็ไม่ใช่พระอยู่แล้วลูกมารก็ไม่ใช่มารอยู่แล้ว
Goodness is not goodness. Badness is not badness as it is.
หลงสำคัญในความเป็นมารหลงสำคัญในความเป็นพระเหรอ
Misleading as being virtuous. Misleading as being a devil.
เอาอนัตตามาทำเป็นนี่เป็นนั่นเหมือนกับปั้นน้ำเป็นตัวไปเรื่อย
Making anatta as this and that is like making something out of nothing.
เอาอนัตตามาสำคัญในความเป็นนี่ในความเป็นนั่น
The anatta is being misled as this and that.
หลงปั้นน้ำเป็นตัวไปเรื่อย
Constantly deluded to make something out of nothing. That which has nothing to do with the anicca and anatta. That which is uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself.
เอาสิ่งที่ไม่ใช่อยู่แล้วมาหลงใช้
Is a delusion to make believe of something that is not about anything.
มันไม่ใช่แม้กระทั่งไม่ใช่เอง
No is not even no itself. Disregard even the disregard itself absolutely. Absolutely deliberate cut through.
หรือว่าจะสมุทเฉดเป็นตอนๆไปแล้ว
Or is it going to be periodically cutting? Don't turn back to be in the ordinariness, to be in stillness or indifference. Don't turn back towards feelings or the mind in this way and that way. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Disregard even the disregard itself constantly. Don't turn back towards the mind in this way and that way. Towards the stillness, the indifference, and ordinariness. Disregard even the disregard itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Be deliberate cut through to help samsara constantly. Cut through to help samsara constantly. Cut through the cycle of samsara, giving ending to help samsara constantly. Don't turn back to sink in the stillness and indifference again. Don't turn back into the state of ordinariness in whatever ways. Whether it is strictness, slackness, or neutrality is not the way. No is not even no itself. Whether it is strictness, slackness, or in the middle is not the way. No is not even no itself. Disregard even the disregard itself constantly, so that it will cut off the cycle of the circling of the cycle of samsara to help one another. That is called helping to give one another to cut through the cycle of the becoming. A tiny bit of maintaining, don't turn back to it. A tiny bit of drowsiness, don't turn back to it. Don't turn back to maintain again. This is not the subject of looking out. This is the subject of enlightenment, which is cutting through the knowing itself. Is not the subject of guarding. Not guarding, looking, seeing, and knowing. This is not the subject of looking out. The subject that cut through itself, there is no need to guard. It's not about something guarding something. Disregard, even the disregard itself. Disregard doesn't grasp itself, it's not limited to itself. Disregard doesn't grasp itself. Disregard, even from itself. Disregard cut through itself. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, constantly. So that it will cut off the cycle of the delusion to maintain or to be drowsy. Disregard doesn't grasp itself. The disregard discards itself. Disregard doesn't grasp itself. Disregard from the disregard itself constantly. Otherwise, for what purpose is it to be led here for blessing? This is not to lead to maintain in mindfulness and concentration. Wherever it is, you can maintain it. To maintain within the realm of existence, it can be done anywhere. This is to lead, to unlock, to bless, to break through, to help samsara, not to lead you to grasp anything. Not to lead you to grasp any types of dharma. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, constantly deliberate cut through to help one another. This is not leading you to grasp mindfulness or concentration, not to lead you to grasp peaceful state, stillness or indifference. This is leading you to bless samsara. Well with it. This is not about taking or grasping. Disregard, even from the disregard itself constantly. Don't regret the attempt to dwell within the mind. Don't regret the attempt to dwell within seeing, knowing or looking. The attempt to dwell is all about samudaya. Don't be busy attempting to dwell or to fixate with anything. Disregard, even from the disregard itself. Dissolve the delusion to dwell and to fixate instantly. Disregard, even from the disregard itself. Dissolve the attempt to dwell within the body, the mind, form and formlessness instantly. Disregard, even from the disregard itself. It will dissolve the attempt to dwell within the body and the mind, within senses and sense objects, within all things, within all types of dharma. It will not become realm of existence. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, will dissolve the attempt to dwell. It will not become realm of existence. It will not become samsara. It will not become samsara. It's not about attempting to arise or to cease. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, is not about attempting to arise or to cease. It's not about attempting to be bound or to be free in whatever ways. It's about helping to give ending instantaneously.